Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Andrew Sabo.
I'm Dylan Weaver.
This bit still hasn't changed, guys.
Nope, we're sticking to it, folks.
Sticking to our guns.
I don't know why, but yeah.
Oh well, you might as well. Today we're talking about Kidsboro Part 2.
Yeah.
It's off of the Truth Chronicles. I don't know album number or episode number.
Truth Chronicles doesn't have an album number. So that's a trick question. But it is track 7.
Okay.
Album 644 of Odyssey overall.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Weirdly, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but the Kidsboro episodes are the only episodes off the Truth Chronicles that have numbers.
Okay.
Because they only give those to episodes that air, and none of the other ones air.
Yeah, so these are the only ones that actually count towards the overall total.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So whatever the total number of Odyssey is, in addition to all the other weird offshoots you can add, you can always add.
Did they add like passages and stuff like that?
Passages did all air, and they are all numbered.
Okay.
Weirdly. And I don't know what they do with club episodes. I assume those don't count.
What? They wouldn't count. Interesting.
But because those are, I don't know how they would count them. I mean, they come out once a month. Like, that's such a, like where would you put them in order-wise?
I don't know. I don't know, Dylan. I don't have answers.
Yeah.
Do we have any context for this episode?
Same as the last one, and the next one is written and directed by Marshall Younger. Aired May 31st, 2008, week before the previous one, week after previous one, week before the next one, and came out simultaneously on podcast. And we do get one new character,
which is
this
Valerie.
episode, in Valerie Swanson, sister to Nelson Swanson.
Yeah, older sister.
Yes, has appeared in 9 episodes to date.
Okay.
And has been, so in these episodes, she's played by Rochelle Greenwood. Okay. And then she is played by 2 different actresses in future episodes.
Jeez.
Yep. So
I think that's some sort of record other than like Wit, but
yeah, I mean 3 actresses in 9 episodes is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah. Rochelle Greenwood is like a bit player on TV. She does one-off episodes of stuff like Monk and Bones and How to Get Away with Murder, The X-Files, like
Grey's Anatomy.
She probably like she just comes in and does and does an episode here or there, and then occasionally does more than that. Notably, recently she was in 3 episodes of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, okay.
Playing a character named Shirley Jackson.
All right. Well, there you go.
So that's the context. Now here's the promo.
There's a promo for this one.
Yeah, all 3 of these episodes have their own promo. He says, assuming that the 3rd one has its own promo.
Yeah,
they were really like putting
a
lot of effort into selling these 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and in turn the books.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. Like we haven't really talked about this, but with as far as my understanding is, and obviously listeners call us out if I'm wrong on this, but these episodes introduce characters, some of which continue out throughout Odyssey. Kidsboro spawns a book series, but I think out of these 3 episodes, Kidsboro is not mentioned again. Like it's not like a Wonderworld style thing where it keeps coming up.
Yeah, I've heard it mentioned offhand.
Okay,
I was gonna say a later episode, but I remember
it might be
hearing
on something else in the Truth Chronicles. I forget.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it and being like, "Oh, that's weird," because this feels so isolated that it would come up again is so interesting. It might be on the Truth Chronicles, but it might not be though. It might be.
Yeah. Now I'm
canon.
Now I'm scrubbing the
wiki,
seeing if anybody if there's records of that sort of thing being mentioned, because
I don't know.
But yeah, anyways, on with those things out of the way, we'll actually play the promo.
On the next special edition of Adventures in Odyssey, it's Kidsboro, the only town completely run by kids.
I'm suing you.
What court?
You don't have a court system? Then you better get one, or Kidsboro is going down fast.
Will Kidsboro be able to withstand the litigation lunacy? Find out on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
What?
Litigation lunacy.
That is one of the weirdest promos we've had in a bit.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Random rat.
I like...
like, whatever that was.
I like the... I like this patriotic music to bring us out.
Yeah, and the, like, kind of home shopping network talk that we got.
Yeah. I really, like... I wonder what these other episodes with Valerie in them are like, because her voice is so distinct.
Yeah. Do they try to sound like the Valerie at the Truth Chronicles?
I don't know.
I mean,
for her being in 2 episodes here,
is she anywhere else on the Truth Chronicles?
No.
Oh.
And she's also like, it's only this episode and the next one where she is played by Rochelle Greenwood.
Yeah. So, interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer because I like her.
Yeah, that's 7 episodes of split between 2 different actors.
Yeah, I think there's one actress who plays her one time, and then another one who's done it for 6 episodes.
Okay,
and she's got episodes in like the 800 range. Like this has been
she's
a character that they've kept.
Thank goodness.
In the universe. Yeah, very, very important.
Yeah.
The
Regina
bratty
George character.
Bratty, spoiled older sister. Who's,
yeah. Not at all a stereotype.
Nope.
So this episode picks up right where the last one left off, like immediately, like yeah, and just jumping right into it. And it's Pete and Ryan Cummings, correct?
Yeah.
And my note is
it's so sorry.
Go for it.
It's so funny that Pete doesn't get a last name.
No, he doesn't. It's Ryan Cummings, Alice,
they
something.
They all have last names.
Except for Pete. I don't know. Did I talk about this last time that he sounds like Patton Oswalt?
I don't think so, no.
He sounds like Ratatouille. If next time you listen to it.
Okay, that Patton Oswalt. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very odd for me because I can't not imagine Remy being the character that this is because audio medium. And
that's funny.
They're talking he comes in talking about an official document, the Kidsboro Constitution.
His question is he wants to know how many people have to die before he becomes leader.
Yeah,
which I think is hilarious.
Designated survivor, anybody? That's a full television show.
Yeah, canceled by NBC, picked up by Netflix.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
3rd season's a Netflix exclusive. First season's good, 2nd season's bad. Haven't touched the 3rd one.
I have fear. Maybe it's better. Probably not though. Back on it. Pete, he's looking for the Constitution, and it's on sticky notes, and we get some very colorful voice acting from him like him freaking out about it being on sticky notes. It can't be written on sticky notes.
That's sticky notes.
Yeah,
like it is. Yeah, it's a very.
Like disgusted, and he's like, "We need a proper document." And can you tell I've listened to these a bunch? And
me too, man.
Yeah, I love Pete as a character. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's a good addition to like the founding fathers and mothers as they're referred
to. So the scene ends with him agreeing to draw up a proper document as his civic duty. He asked to get paid, and they said they don't have money for that. And he said, "It's I'll do it as my civic duty." And then he goes out on a triumphant "Hail Kidsboro" with some patriotic music, which did not recognize as kind of Nazi-esque as a child, but now I'm like, okay, pure Cummings, yes.
But yeah, I I like the fact that it's on sticky notes, though. Like, Ryan makes the comment of like, yeah, well, we've just kind of been dealing with issues as they come up and just like writing stuff down. Like, there's no way to
make a proper document.
Yep. And but Pete
feels very strongly about that.
Yeah, that there needs to be, and tries to he tries to get it as a job, and then decides to volunteer.
Yeah. It's real good. And then we get Ryan and Nelson, right?
Yeah. So Ryan goes over to Nelson to let him know, hey, we've got another house for you, that sort of thing. And then
because he was fumigated last episode.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, well, actually, like I came up with a chemical mixture that counteracts the stink bombs.
Which is baking soda? Presumably? I don't know. It's definitely, it's liquid. Yeah, it's a liquid.
Because it stains.
What's that going to be? I mean, I've tried everything in the book to get like wet soccer cleat smell out of bags and stuff, and nothing really works.
Well, I think, and spoiler alert, this concoction or whatever of the stink was made with an antidote already in mind.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not like he's trying to counteract general smells. He made something that cancels out a thing he also made.
Yeah. He's cutting people and already has the Band-Aids already sort of situation.
Yeah.
So he eradicates the odor. Ryan gets super happy about it, and this is when they get notified that 2 more houses are hit with said stink bombs.
Yep.
And I believe it's Pete's house as well, right?
Yep, Pete's and then Valerie's.
Yeah, and Valerie's the new kid. She's older, like presumably, like if these guys are in middle school,
older than Nelson, but I'm gonna look it up.
I feel like she's old 8th grade and Nelson's young 7th grade, if that makes any sense. Because
I
don't think they're twins.
No, the wiki does not clarify. There's also, generally speaking, Odyssey doesn't like put grades super. Mostly. Oh, okay. Valerie is his older sister.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this idea of like it's a small town, like all the kids kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Regardless of their age differences and whatnot. Like that.
Yes, and that's very not Odyssey thing.
Yeah.
So 2 more houses are hit. One of them's Valerie's. Valerie is, as we mentioned, the quintessential, like, bratty, spoiled, pretty girl.
Yep.
Probably has a pink pencil case. And
Ryan straight out refers to her as the prettiest girl in school.
Yeah, which interesting.
I know. I was like, is this planting seeds? But then they also like hate each other
violently.
But he's like, she's the prettiest girl. Like, even his voice sounds kind of like he's like impressed by it, but then he's like actually has disdain for her and the rest. So it's I don't know.
There are so many people that I'm like, wow, if you were not as attractive as you are, you would not be able to get away with this.
And you're one of them.
Yeah, amen. I mean, I'll tell you what, this body doesn't come easy, and I am reaping the benefits. I get all kinds of free ice cream, and
which is a counteractive to the body looking good. That's just called sabotage.
Yeah, that's mean. Never mind. Now's not the time for that. I've been the beneficiary and also the detriment of that scale many times.
Okay.
That phenomena for another episode, perhaps a late night story time episode of the Wad Fam Chalk. We can tell like campfire stories. I can talk about all the times.
That sounds like a great episode for the Andrew Sabo podcast.
There you go. Yeah, if that was a thing that exists. I told some of my classmates, because one of my classmates is a pastor's kid, and I told him about the Wad Fam Chalk Pod, and he was like, interesting. And I'm like, another listener. Gotta get them plays.
Shout him out if he's...
I love you, Aiden.
There we go. New potential listener, Aiden.
We don't even know. He's like a prospect. We're grooming him. See,
Oh man,
we are doing great.
so good. Hey, dude, it's a light episode. We're just gonna play it real loose.
Yeah, heck yeah.
After the like very down to business last couple we've had.
Yeah,
we can use a jokey one.
I can get it loose.
So yeah, with these new stink bombs and whatever, Nelson continues to accuse the Bones of Wrath.
Which,
what?
So they go off of the monologue saying that it's led by Rodney Rathbone.
Yep.
Meaning Rodney is a 40-year-old man with a bunch of angsty middle schoolers.
He's not 40.
I mean, if we're going by real time, not 40.
No,
he's
not even
early
40,
20s.
But yes, and I don't know if this is
least.
still the case, but the wiki does note this as like the last time the Bones of Wrath are mentioned.
Thank goodness. They should not be mentioned again.
Yeah, and I think, and probably they ditch that when they hit the new
Knew it.
Right, when they get the new wit, when they kind of do that soft reboot we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I imagine that's also when they stop making reference to Rodney and the Bones of Wrath, which, as we've talked about previously, is a brilliant name.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Far too good.
Yeah. For Rodney to have come up with. It's,
Yeah.
oh, man. And then,
Ryan's little monologue, he says, because we do continue to get like narration and stuff from him, which I like a lot. But he's like, they're a band of delinquents, or as delinquent as you can get in Odyssey, which is a really great acknowledgement of the fact that
they steal
it's
people's
still
arcade
Odyssey.
tokens, that kind of thing.
They call people Popsicle.
Yep. Yeah. You Popsicle kid. Oh,
Popsicle Caprera, the weirdest kid in town.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard your voice that high.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, I hope it stays in for the listener's sake. And so we get some, they're blamed for it, and they're basically then kind of, their attention shifts towards Nelson, because Nelson has the anecdote. He has the smell eradicator. And this is when Valerie kind of first makes her way on the scene, being like, I need some of this stuff, like the government should pay for it because, it's safety. And because then Nelson is trying to make money off of it, and he's like, okay, well, yeah, you can buy some off Nelson. And they're like, no, I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
Which maybe I shouldn't think so much about the currency of Kidsboro, but as far as like a $40 lawsuit putting them in debt as a town, I don't understand.
Well, and also there's a weird thing through this episode with they're talking all in like the Kidsboro currency.
Yeah.
But Valerie's talking about the fact that her shirt cost $40. Did it cost $40 US? Did it cost 40 Kidsboro equivalent? Because they end up paying her 40 Kidsboro dollars. Is the transaction even? In which case, like,
what is their tax rate?
And why are they, like, why not just use real money then?
Yeah, why not use real dollars?
It's,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
weird,
even...
But...
I guess it has to be separate, so they can't use that. But that is the exchange rate where I was like really questioning as to how like 30 people paying taxes only comes out to like what they say, like $30-something, which is not much.
They,
and I guess
like
they're not
28
money,
and some cents. But
yeah,
it's an interesting thing. But the whole thing here is that Valerie wants the government to pay for the air freshener.
Yeah.
Like you would like the military.
Yeah.
Is kind of the thing that they make, and they decide, yeah, sure, like we'll do that. Nelson gets his like contract to work for the government, and then our next scene is Valerie
coming in all upset, right?
Yeah. The air freshener that Nelson developed, she then spilled on her pink shirt, and decided to sue the government because because she spent $40 on her favorite pink shirt, and it's
a stain that she specifies won't come out.
Yeah. It's a stain that's not going to come out, and the government put these things in the buildings, so, like, it's on them.
Yeah.
She also... Ryan makes some comment about fashion. She's like, oh, like, you'd know fashion, Ryan. You're wearing $4 jeans or pants or whatever. And I was like, you know what? If I could get pants for $4, I would have so many pants. I mean, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think maybe Goodwill, but definitely not nice pants.
Yeah.
And
which, I mean, I guess maybe the implication is that they're not nice, but like, if I could get pants that fit for $4.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dude, sign me up.
Does not matter. I was at Target yesterday, and I am upset because a pack of 2 socks for me is like $15 if it's anything other than Peds. Like, if I want cute socks that have a platypus on them or something like that, it's $15 for 2 pairs. And then literally right across the aisle is the girls' socks, and it's $150 for a 3-pack of way cooler socks.
Yeah. Buy girls' socks, man.
I totally will. There was a pack that came with leggings, and I was so seriously considering getting it.
Why not?
There's not enough reasons as to why not, and I should have them, but I don't.
All right, well, you can go back to Target.
Yeah, I can. Use my money.
We'll do a trip after the pod.
Yeah, we gotta wait. We gotta wait on getting the OA club so I can buy some leggings. I need to designate my finances.
Pure comfort.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to have a trial.
We didn't have a judicial system.
Correct. So they have Alice as the judge, and then Valerie's fighting with Ryan over this. Ryan's representing the state.
Yeah.
And yeah, she is playing everything up very dramatically.
The thing that this narration from Ryan does is it sets the scene very well.
Oh yeah,
like this throughout
about, like,
this
the
whole
buzz around the
series,
town, like it's the most exciting. You know, it's the
trial
decade
of the
or
century,
whatever, and then he's like, or maybe
the
week.
And I was like, how many trials do you guys have? Like, what are you expecting more? Probably not great, but and then but even just this whole like the way that he's reacting to it is very. Like, it's conveyed very well via this narration. And so, like you were saying, so Valerie gets on the stand, and she's playing it up. She's like, imagine this with me. You're, the cutest guy in school asked you to go with the football game with him. You get all dressed up. You're going to show him off to all your friends. And then he's painted his face blue and white, which now we know, canon for the Odyssey Owls, their colors are blue and white.
But she says he's from a school across town.
Oh, you're right.
So maybe the Connellsville Cougars. I don't know what these teams are.
Cougars.
That's canon now.
That's okay.
The Odenton
Ogres. I don't know. Odenton is like onions. It has layers. Isn't Odenton like the bad part of town?
Odenton's
that's Oswald Heights.
Oswald Heights. Why is everything an O?
Odyssey, Odenton, Oswald Heights.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Come on, Andrew.
It's a hard vowel to start words with. Like, what?
I don't know.
There's only so many things you can do with that.
Anyway.
With that vowel, come on now.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
Odenton Ogres.
Oh, the Odenton Ogres. And they're
buy your Odenton Ogres merch.
Oh, yeah. The Odenton Ogres, top notch. They have a really good volleyball team, which is kind of confusing, but yeah, so she's playing this up.
Oh, man.
Valerie's playing this up, and he's painted it blue and white. You're mortified. You go under the bleachers, and you weep for what could have been. Choking back tears. It's truly a stunning performance.
And Alice is just kind of like getting tired of it, and
she is such a good judge.
She is a really good judge.
Like, that is, I am That was the best thing.
And so kind of the whole thing throughout this is Ryan thinks all of this is stupid, and so he just like he hasn't put any effort into it. He's like, there's no like reason that this should be happening.
Yeah.
And then
his thing is more the financial side of it, where he's like, you know, do you want your hardworking tax dollars to go to Valerie? You know, we won't be able to afford the programs that we want to do, the community center. Are you willing to give up first-class ping pong tables for Valerie's stain? Is a pretty good line that he has.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a valid point, but it seems incredibly casual and like this is all a sham.
Right, like he hasn't given this... Yeah, because he doesn't think this is worth his time.
Yeah.
And so it kind of shows on
he
the other hand.
Goofy.
Yeah. And Nelson goes up on the stand and Valerie bullies him a little bit. She at one point he says to Valerie, if you lose, you're probably going to staple me to my bedroom wall, which is hilarious.
Is that using a staple gun? Is that using like I
think a hand stapler.
Yeah, a hand stapler.
And then under her breath she says, "Yeah, I will."
Yeah.
And Alice is like, "No threats in this courthouse unless they come from me. I have a mallet."
Yeah, it's so good. I have a metal meat mallet at home. It's like not wooden or anything like that. So whenever somebody says they have a mallet, like that's what I think of.
That's a serious weapon there, Andrew.
It's a powerful image.
But and then she asks if Ryan wants to cross-examine. And he's like, no, like this, this doesn't matter. This shouldn't be happening. This like, who cares?
Yeah.
And so Alice ends up, you know, going to confer with herself and come back and be like, look, like, Valerie, you're a horrible person, but the government needs to pay for this. Like, you didn't do a good job.
Yeah, you didn't do a good job. And you also didn't argue your point. Like, you didn't argue your defense well enough. It was basically like, he didn't say that they weren't wrong. He said that we shouldn't have to pay for it. Like, which is a terrible defense.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, that's, and so he's devastated. Like, Pete's freaking out because he mentioned before this, like, the government cannot afford a $40 lawsuit. As we stated, $40 is the amount of the suit for the new shirt. And so, yeah, and Alice, like I said, she's a really good judge. And now Ryan's this kind of disgraced leader. And Ryan's talking to Jill afterwards about the piece that she wrote about the trial. And apparently she called Ryan, she said he looked like a flounder that had just been hooked on the fishing line of incompetency. Which is
Jill is the best.
And he's like, did you really have to call me that? And she's like, I'm big with metaphors.
Yep. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Is a simile, but
yeah.
You know, the only reason I even bring that up is because it's a note on the AIO wiki, which is hilarious because, you know, AIO Wiki is run by homeschoolers.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, they're pointing out that
the
is
K-12 curriculum coming out there, guys.
not a metaphor, and I thought it was amusing. Anyways,
it's real good though.
So they're trying to figure out how to pay for this, and they're like, "Well, can we raise taxes again?" And they're like, "No, like people are going to revolt."
Yeah.
And
what we missed was after talking to Jill about that, Jill brings up the fact that she thinks that it was an inside job.
That's later, actually. That's after the end of this meeting. Because they first decide that everyone in the government is going to work for free.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, you know what? Like, I'm willing to do this, go without salary so so we can survive.
Yeah.
And they all kind of one by one jump in and say that, except for, I mean, Jill doesn't have a government job.
Yeah.
So
she's just a founding father.
Yeah.
Or mother.
I
don't want to assume gender.
Anyway, so then afterwards, Jill approaches Ryan and is like, look, I think this was an inside job. Think about
Yeah.
the bones of wrath.
Yeah.
They would have just thrown a
it.
stink bomb. They wouldn't have come up with this elaborate chemical thing that was very well made.
The cans were really neatly cut and stuff.
Yeah, she's been examining what one that Alice gave her, and she's like, it just doesn't add up. I think someone within Kidsboro did this.
Yeah, and then we get another Ryan monologue where he's talking about well, it's kind of concerning that somebody in this own town would do it. It feels strange to be kind of wondering who amongst us is the betrayer.
Yeah,
and doing all this kind of harm.
Yeah.
And then somebody super glues Pete's door shut.
Yep.
Which. I love Pete. Pete is the best part of this series. I will say it now. I said it before. I'll say it again. He's amazing.
It's just
somebody super glued my door shut.
I'm trying to imagine the circumstance in which a wooden door on a shed is being held shut by super glue and you can't open it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that they're kids. They're not actually
It's really funny to me.
Strong, but I mean, I figured Alice would know the pressure point on a door and be able to kick it in or something from a YouTube video she watched. Next to how to SWAT roll and pin people up against a wall.
But then and so Valerie shows up and she's like, "Oh no, what's happened here?"
Yeah.
And gets very maniacal and
Yeah.
just her tone of voice. She's so well performed.
Yeah.
I love her. And she's basically look, all this is happening under your watch, Ryan. Maybe you're not competent.
Mayor. Yeah. Maybe you're not good for this. And then she says Kidsboro is mine.
Yep.
And it's the maniacal laughter bit. I'm like, oh my lord. I get that you're a caricature, but wow.
Yeah.
She just became Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. I will rule the tri-state area.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh, yeah. It's rough. So basically, because, and again, with the monologues, it's hard to note it, but it is noted that the attacks had stopped after we had given the mixture. So after, we talked about Nelson getting employed, everybody getting the mixture, the attack stops. Valerie spills her stuff on herself. The government gets sued.
Yep.
That trial ends. Then Pete's door is glued shut, and they're shocked because they thought that the threat had gone away.
Right. Right. Oh, and that was part of Jill's thing as well.
Yeah.
Was that all of the after they put out the neutralizer or whatever that Nelson whipped up, there weren't any more attacks.
It wasn't somebody.
So she's like, it must have been someone within Kidsboro because they knew to stop when we had a solution.
Yeah. And then so Pete's door is glued shut. They thought he was away. He's back now. Valerie is terrifying. And then we get a meeting between Ryan and Nelson.
He goes to Nelson's house.
Clubhouse, I guess.
No, his actual house.
Oh,
he makes that comment where he's like, oh, we've been spending so much time in Kidsboro, it's weird to be at your house. And so he sees these half bottles in the trash can there, or the recycling, and he's like, those look like the other half of the ones at Kidsboro. I'm gonna take all of those, and if even one of them matches. And Nelson's like, look, you don't have to do that. It was me.
Yeah.
Comes clean and just explains his business was not at all successful. He felt like an outcast.
Yeah, he felt like he didn't fit in.
And so he did this so that he would have a reason to
have a purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes kind of sense.
Yeah, and Ryan's understands and is a really good friend here, and he's like, come on, you had great ideas, you just had to wait for them to catch on.
Yeah, his solar powered air conditioner, it's gonna get hot out, those things are gonna sell like crazy. Which, in his defense, boy, that's an excellent idea. Solar powered air conditioners were great. Automatic rakes would be huge in the woods in the in the fall.
Right, yeah, all of that stuff. So, like, he's got, there's definitely potential future. And then he also confesses to supergluing Pete's door. Which, of course. But Ryan seems very caught off guard by it. I was like, oh, did you not think the vandalism was linked? Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's basically like he's got this whole plan to create terror in the town so that people buy stuff. They give the government taxes. They're like willing to pay the taxes for protection. Then Ryan gets to put a stop to it, and once again he's on top. You kind of quash the whole Valerie thing, like all of this stuff. And
basically, Nelson offers a cover up to Ryan. Yes. Ryan's like very against it at first, and then he's like, well, the attacks will stop. Valerie will shut up, and Nelson can stay in the city government, because if he were to get caught, he would be kicked out. He might even be kicked out of town.
Exactly.
And then Ryan will be the hero. They can raise taxes. Nobody will question it. And they'll be able to. The government will be able to recover from the lawsuit and function even better than it had before. And so the episode goes out on Ryan saying, okay, and like sighing, and like, what's your plan?
And that's where it ends. I think something that's interesting that this show does, or that, like, these episodes do well, in my opinion, is kind of coming at a lot of this government stuff more or less even-handedly. Like, it doesn't seem like, oh, these, like, the people on this side are doing stuff that's, like, incredibly, like the whole paying for the, like, government to supply the stink bomb neutralizers, like, all of that stuff is, like, it doesn't, like, the show doesn't feel like it's coming down on, like, that was the wrong decision, and, like, this is the way you're supposed to do it, and whatever. Like, it seems like it's doing it kind of even-handedly, which is cool, but not at all their intention.
No.
Because, allow me to ask you the some of the discussion questions.
Oh, okay.
Of which there are 7.
Wow. That is,
and we're gonna kind of just blow through these, but, like, I think it's really interesting to see how the creators of the show are viewing, like, because we don't get, like, the Chris wrap up of like, these are the lessons you were supposed to be learned. These discussion questions show you what lessons you were supposed to be
taking away from it.
So it starts off with question number 1. God invented nations and what we call the state or the government. What is the purpose of the government?
Listen, I know that I'm an outlier here, but no.
No, Andrew, there was no government before God.
Yeah.
I mean,
heck yeah.
Technically correct in that there were no humans before God.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and God made us and we made governments. So.
I mean, yeah, there is what? It's in Romans that, like, all governments are like God, like God's placed those people in places of leadership or whatever, like some of that stuff. But
yeah, but that's for respecting authority and not killing Caesar for killing your friends.
Right. Yeah.
Less so of the whole, like, did God place Hitler in power? He was in government. Like,
yeah.
Depends on how you read the Bible, I guess.
Yep. It depends on how hands-on you think God is.
With everything.
Yep. Okay, question number 2. In order to punish evil, a government must have laws. Where should people look for guidance when creating laws?
The library?
The answer is obviously the Bible, Andrew. Because the second part of this question is, did America's founding fathers use the Bible to establish laws?
No.
Kind of.
Not no.
I mean,
actually, kind of not really, because, I mean, it's in the freaking Constitution that there should not be a state religion.
Correct.
So, if they did, they shouldn't have.
I'm skipping question 3 because it's whatever. Question 4. Ryan and Nelson were in the government of Kidsboro, but they found themselves in difficult situations, even doing wrong things for what they hoped were good reasons. Is it ever right to do wrong, even if you mean well?
No.
Yeah.
No, you're correct. That's a good one.
Uh-huh. What happens if the government behaves that way?
Oh, don't legalize abortion, I guess? I don't know.
All right. I'm skipping question 5, even though... Oh, no, I gotta do question 5. I'm sorry. 6 and 7 are the ones I want to hit on the most, but, like, there's too much good stuff in here.
All right.
What are the consequences when a government drifts away from the principles found in the Bible?
Which principles? I guess Hiroshima? Like, you get blown up by nukes? I don't know.
See, this is an interesting thing in that focus on the family, very nationalistic, very pro-military, all of those things.
Yeah.
Is the Bible pro-military or is the Bible more pacifist?
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, if you want to get real with it, the first generation of Christians, the people that like actually responded to the message of Jesus Christ, were pacifists. And I actually just learned this today. The Roman soldiers that were like functioning under Caesar, if they became Christians, they could still be soldiers, but they could not kill anybody.
Interesting.
And that was just normal. Like, of course you're a Christian. Of course you're a pacifist. You're a Christian. Like, that's how it was. Like, because blessed are the peacemakers. They, they shall be called children of God. And then Constantine came along and screwed everything up forever. Because he was like, Christian nation will kill people. Screw you, Constantine.
Not enough people are willing to say that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, screw you, Constantine. You really done goofed it here.
All right. Here's question 6, which I think is where 6 and 7 really bring home what this episode is supposed to be about.
Oh no.
Should the government decide what schools teach?
What? That's not even talked about.
That's what we call the bait and switch.
Yeah. Should governments decide what schools teach? Yes, kind of. I mean, they're public schools. They're publicly funded, so yes. And if you don't like what they're deciding, then vote different people into office.
Yeah. Who would you like to decide what schools should teach? Because if you just leave it up to the teachers, that's crazy.
Bad.
Like, you need to have standardization.
Yeah.
Should the government take care of the poor, or is that someone else's responsibility?
Oh no!
That's question 6. That's 6B.
6B. Is that somebody? That's the church's responsibility. Yes, and
you know what? Statistically, the church isn't that great at it.
Nope. We do a lot of charity work. We don't take care of poor people well.
No. So, yeah. The government needs to fill needs.
Yeah, meet the needs.
Yeah.
Secure life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. First being life. But thank goodness people can't get, like, health care if they need it, because that's messed up.
Yeah. No kidding.
I mean, learning, like, working at the hospital now, like, now I know all the nitty-gritty and stuff, like, what you're allowed to do to people for free and what you can't do if they don't have insurance, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it's tough. Is it the government's job to decide if parents are being good parents?
What? That's not at all what this episode was about.
No, it is not.
Is it the government's job to decide if parents are being good parents? Only if they're being abusive.
Right.
Like mandated reporting is a thing.
This is the thing, is I don't know what the question is if it's not about abuse.
Yeah.
Because I think Focus's opinion is no, that's not the government's job.
Yeah.
But on what... The government doesn't really intercede
with parenting
on issues other than abuse.
Yeah, or and they don't like to do this, but like they will take your kids away from you and put them in the foster care system if you prove to be an incapable and inadequate caretaker.
Correct.
Meaning they don't eat ever.
Right.
Like not just you're poor, like they don't eat.
Yeah. It's like who would you want to make those decisions if not the government? That question I was just like, "Oh boy."
Wow, that took such a what this episode was about.
Uh-huh. And then this one's the most telling. Legitimately, not just as a joke like the last one was. This is question 7. The citizens of Kidsboro didn't want to pay for Nelson's smell neutralizer, so they asked the government to pay for it. The government then had to raise taxes, so the citizens still had to pay for the neutralizers, but now they couldn't decide if they didn't want to buy it in the first place. Do you think this is right for the government to do?
Wow! Wow, this just got... This episode is not taxes are bad. In no way is the episode the taxes are bad.
But that is...
clearly what they're saying.
That is the... Whether or not you and I, listening to the episode, come away with that is the intention of this episode.
Is that taxes are bad. And I think it's so funny that it has this whole 3-4 sentence paragraph and then ends with do you think this is right, when they've so clearly telegraphed that the correct answer is no. Yeah. Oh my Lord.
It's so the citizens had to pay for them even though they didn't get to decide.
Yeah.
Now that's just a step closer to communism. Kidsboro is turning into a communist. Get rid of the Reds.
Filthy Democrats. Get out of here.
It's...
Boy. And, I can firmly say that, I never thought... taxes in this episode aren't even painted in a bad light. It's all about, hey, we're building a community center, which is a thing that the community should have and everybody benefits from.
And it's tough, too, because...
And the government gave up their money instead of raising taxes.
Yeah. And in that same exact scene that they're referencing, they make the comparison of, putting these things out there to prevent stuff is like having a military.
Yeah.
And we know their stance is go military, but they're also in the stance of the stink bomb tax was, unjust.
We need a rival town of atheist Kidsboro neighbors that we can attack. Then we can raise taxes. Gotta get them.
Oh,
ooh,
man.
What if they're Muslim? We can really get them. Deus Volt.
So yeah, the questions are, do you think this is right for the government to do? Sure. Was it logical? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose job is it to replace the things that the criminals break?
Insurance companies, I guess. Do they have insurance in Kidsboro?
Yeah, apparently not. It's just, it's...
That is interesting. Thank you for bringing that to light. Because that is different.
Yeah, occasionally these questions I find interesting.
Incredibly noteworthy.
We had a shorter episode anyways because it was kind of plot recappy. So I was like, you know what? We're going to dig in on these questions because...
There's a lot there.
They raise interesting questions and really, really show their hand.
Yeah. And those are the ones that are in the album, right? Those are the ones that are in the pamphlet, right?
Yeah, I think all of the Truth Chronicles episodes have these extended questions that were in a booklet that came with the album.
Fairly curriculum based, yeah.
Right, because it's this whole thing of being it's tied to this curriculum that they're doing and whatnot, and
these are absolute truth, and the absolute truth is that taxes are bad.
Yeah, well, and these are episodes. Even though this is always kind of the point of Odyssey, these episodes, Truth Chronicles in particular, is listen to these with your kids and talk through the theology.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of the point.
Well,
here.
there's there's an evolution episode that heavily shaped what I thought about evolution for a real long time.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Focus on the Family.
Yeah. And I've never listened to that episode.
Yeah.
Because the only Truth Chronicles I know are Kidsboro.
Screw you, Constantine. Get out of here. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean I can't wait to talk about next week's episode.
Yeah,
nice,
see how
conclusion,
it all wraps up.
Or pseudo conclusion, because there are books, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You have anything to promote this week? Anything to plug?
Yeah. So I want to promote a playlist I've put together. It's called Midsummer Nights.
It's very good.
It's the follow-up to my Bittersweet Summer playlist. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It's on Spotify. We'll put a link below. It's a lot of the music I like, kind of put together as though it was more of a concept album, even though it's a playlist. I don't know.
No, I like that.
That's kind of become like the way I enjoy making music or curating music these days or whatever, because I don't actually have the skill to make music, but I can
put it together so it sounds nice.
Yeah,
that makes sense. No, I get that a lot. I don't really have anything to promote this week.
Yeah, Andrew has no plugs.
I did. What a shocker.
Yeah, I know. Turns
out college is busy.
Yeah.
Freaking, oh my lord.
Yep. No, that's fair. All right. We'll be back in a week.
Yeah.
Talking about episode 645, Kidsboro Part 3. Bye, guys.
Screw you, Constantine. Bye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 45, Kidsboro Part 2, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.